Toxicity is a positive for Valorant. And no, not the toxicity you see in your ranked silver matches, but in the pro scene.
You came into this team. I remember seeing the conversation online, and there were question marks. People were unsure. They were like, wait, who is this guy? Why is he on this team? Is this just a meme? They weren't sure. And then you start playing, and then you start shutting people up. I mean, was that it? Was that your motivation the whole time? Like, the moment you got on this team, you just want to prove everyone wrong?
Oh yeah, fuck the haters. Respect my fucking name. I'm the best player in this game.
I know I had you go in there for a second. The Valorant scene needs more Demon 1. Toxicity provides heroes and villains to root for, and anyone who has to compete knows how important rivals are. Rivalries are actually what motivates players to get better, and they're what keep viewers watching. I mean, how boring would Goku be without Vegeta? It's so important to have these different roles be represented on stage, because it gives more types of players for the audience to identify with and enjoy. A player like TenZ, for example, has a ton of fans, and has been one of the faces of Valorant since the beginning. He's really likable and not controversial at all, but he has a lot of fanboys that can be annoying to deal with. Demon 1, on the other hand, is brash. He trash talks and constantly badmouths, and he can easily rub players or fans the wrong way.
Honestly, I don't give a f what you guys say about me. You can call me whatever you want.
But the difference between him and players like TenZ is what ends up making both more compelling in the long run. When there are different types of players competing against each other on stage, it naturally leads to conflict and fun storylines for the viewers. Just one example is at the end of 2023, evil geniuses showed up to tournaments with a huge ego. They went absolutely wild with trash talking in interviews and being disrespectful during matches. And it's clear that their attitude definitely rubbed off teams the wrong way, like Paper Rex and their fans. Paper Rex started being disrespectful right back during their games, and even waving EG goodbye after beating them in the upper finals. When you create memorable moments, it makes fans actually excited for the next match. Pro Toxicity is just an easy way to engage the viewers, which is a huge plus for the scene, because without engagement, your scene starts to run into some pretty big problems. More engagement leads to increased viewership, which has a big effect on the scene as a whole. You can see how important it is to Riot through their production. They put immense effort into high quality production, and they try their hardest to create narratives for the pro scene on their own. They realize the importance of giving a reason for viewers to care about the outcome of the match, but when there's nothing to latch onto, it feels obviously forced and strained. The natural storylines and dramas that appear from the villains makes this process so much easier for everyone involved. Fans not only feel invested in the matches, but in the players themselves. They do this because more eyes on Valorant is good for everyone involved. It helps the orgs. The better off Riot is doing, the more they can support the orgs and the scene. Also, the more viewers and engagement there is, the more fans orgs can show their content and sell their merch to, in order to become more self-sufficient and stable. Also, more fans means that pro players can create more stability for themselves through making their own content or streaming. Getting their name out there and opening opportunities for themselves in other kinds of positions if they want to transition careers as well. It also helps the player base at large. If Riot and orgs are doing well, it makes it easier for aspiring players to follow in pros' footsteps, while the more casual audience gets more content from everyone, better production, and a larger player base, which puts more eyes and resources onto the game. Remember how I said the toxicity you see in the pro scene is not the same you see in the ranked silver games? Well, let's take a look at a great pro example, Demon 1. Demon 1 is a player that many didn't know or care about before 2023. Fans were angry at Potter's move to replace BCJ with a no-name player. It wasn't until his debut did people truly understand. Demon 1 was a monster. His aim was absolutely crazy, and he was just pumping out highlight plays. But another thing also stood out. Demon 1 was toxic. With Demon 1's massive ego and trash talk combined with the fans' dislike of him replacing their favorite player, Demon 1 quickly became a hot topic. Regardless of being a villain or not, one thing was undeniable. Demon 1's toxicity gave the audience something to care about. He was incredibly entertaining to watch, which made you not want to miss one of his games. When a player like Demon 1 calls you mid or trash on the big stage, or even acts disrespectful in and out of the game, it makes you want to shut him up. And that's always fun to watch. It adds an extra layer of excitement and drama to the pro scene. But there's a sharp contrast between pro toxicity that Demon 1 shows and the terrible solo queue experience. It becomes very clear that the motivations behind these players are vastly different. There's a few key differences between pros and the average players, besides how much better they are. While the average player's toxicity in solo queue often stems from frustration, the toxicity between pros is banter between acquaintances and friends. And a lot of the times it's just used for content creation or a legitimate rivalry.
Bro, Demon 1, he's so toxic. I mean, no, it's... Okay, listen. These players from EG, they only toxic for social media, for interviews, just for video, you know. They good persons in real life.
Let me try to clear it up a little. For pros on a team, if they direct their energy at their teammates, they'll already know each other. It's much easier to be more direct with people you know, and the purpose for that energy is to improve and grow as a team over time. It's a process that takes a lot of time, a ton of games, and trust. When that respect breaks down, it's very clear and the team implodes. In really high elo ranked like Radiant, a lot of players are pros, or play with each other so much that they already know each other, which makes it so much easier to banter with each other and not be taken too seriously. When the average players do this in ranked, they're usually just doing it to put a teammate down and feel good about themselves, to cope with losing. It's important to keep team morale up and lower the enemy team morale if you want to win. People don't learn from someone that they don't respect, and you're never going to teach someone during one game of Valorant. So if you want to be toxic in solo queue, trash talk the enemy team to make them blame each other. But on your own team, just be quiet or try to keep team morale up if you want to win.